Over the Garden Wall, the 2014 Cartoon Network miniseries that managed to gain one of the biggest fan bases despite only having around 2-ish hours worth of content to its name. The show follows Wirt and Greg as they find themselves lost in the unknown woods as they try and return home. A whole bunch of spooky and wacky shenanigans happen over the show's 10-episode run, and people just fell in love with these characters, the story, and the more mature, scary theming the cartoon gives off. With only those 10 episodes, they were practically begging to be ranked, and this just means I get to rewatch this amazing show, so here we are. Let's just get right into the ranking and reviewing of each episode of Over the Garden Wall, starting with number 10.
I want to steal.
What? You guys are bonkers!
Mad Love is coming here at last place. Now I will say that really all 10 of these episodes in the show are pretty dang good, but this one was the weakest in my eyes. It very randomly throws us into this wacky millionaire's mansion out of nowhere. All the other locations our duo stumbles upon in the woods are somewhat believable and make sense, like the small cottages or a tavern. Even the farm village is sort of believable. But a random double mansion is pretty ridiculous. This episode is giving Scooby-Doo vibes, as they run around a mansion thinking there's a ghost, but it just turns out to be a misunderstanding or a different explanation in the end. It's just not where the show shines brightest, but that's okay.
We're the hippopotamus, giraffe, and monkey.
I forgot just how wacky of an episode Babes in the Wood is. Over the Garden Wall is more of a serious and mature show, so seeing into Greg's wackadoodle dream just gives you a little bit of whiplash. While it is interesting to see Wirt fall into despair and Greg apathetically take on a leader role, the way he goes about it through this goofy dream is a bit odd. Seeing Greg's decision in the end was the best part of the episode, that weirdly felt straight out of Summer Camp Island.
Ah, beans, where is that frog o' mine?
The old grist mill, the episode that started it all. We are immediately greeted with how the show approaches its storytelling, just by throwing us head over heels right into a location. And in this episode, we get to experience the beginning of and the most of our woodsman character, played by Christopher Lloyd, who absolutely kills it. So while the other two episodes I previously mentioned have some flaws that keep him down there, the only reason the first episode is here where it is because it just has a little bit going for it. This show becomes so exciting and great that even a good episode like this just falls to number 8. So yeah, from here on out we are only dealing with some heavy-hitting episodes.
For the last couple hours, I've been saying...
Hard Times at the Huskin Bee might just be the most memorable and recognizable episode the show has. The farming village our cat stumbles upon is real cute, and the pumpkin cult village are just the right amount of creepy, yet weirdly beautiful. I know that 7th place might seem a bit low on this list, and even I am surprised with where this episode ended up landing for me. There really isn't too much going for this episode until the reveal at the end, when it turns out the pumpkin folks are actually skeletons. The characters do make for some fun vibes and visuals though. Whenever I first think of Over the Garden Wall, these gourd boys always come to mind first.
Hot dogs are not actually dogs, regardless of what they teach in school.
Schooltown Follies is just not quite good enough to move up to the front half of this list, but it's still a very underrated episode. The mini schoolhouse makes for an interesting set piece, and the cast that comes along with it are fun. While the whole Wirt being a pushover thing can get old a little bit quick, and the whole gorilla plot line was ridiculous, the episode was still a very charming one. Honestly, the main reason this episode surpasses the debut episode at number 7 is because the episode has the song Potatoes and Molasses in it. If you're a fan of the show, you know what Potatoes and Molasses is. While it does sound kinda gross, the show makes the weird combo sound so yummy in the song.
Bye, Gregory. And please don't call me old lady.
Yes, sir, young man!
Not to be fooled with the Frozen 2 hit song, Into the Unknown was the second to last episode of the show, and it was really good. It's a lot different from all the other episodes in that it's a flashback episode. We get a look into Wirt and Greg's life when they aren't lost in the woods. It's cool to see Wirt's high school crush shenanigans and Greg P's goofy little self, except with an actual civilization. I also love how this episode really starts to change the narrative of Greg being the main character instead of Wirt, and not the one who is truly responsible for the duo's lost situation, despite being the younger and more carefree of the two. Wirt is the more mature yet emotional of the bunch, and his emotions are what led to the pair going over the garden wall. Yeah, it's pretty cool what I did there. Also, it's more of like a cemetery wall, but whatever.
What's with George Washington being naked?
What?
Okay, I forgot just how many frogs were in this show. It's kinda crazy. Lullaby and Frogland might just be the most vibey of all the episodes. Now, vibiness is kinda difficult to explain, but trust me on this one. It's probably because of how we find ourselves on a fun, dainty tugboat, like we are riding a river in the bayou. The little froggy band that plays is so great, I love them. We get to the point in the show where our characters really start to grow and mesh well together, despite having very little screen time with the short story nature of the show. And hearing our boys sing the Adelaide song is so fun. Hot take, but I prefer that mini song to Potatoes and Molasses. But we aren't ranking songs in this video. I did that last time and everyone agreed with everything I said. So moving on.
Who are you?
I'm hungry.
Songs of the Dark Lantern is a great episode of Over the Garden Wall. Now I do believe the ones in first and second place definitely separate themselves from the bunch, but this one here is still super good. The tavern that the boys enter themselves into is full of a cornucopia of characters who are so enjoyable and charming. They all have their little songs and personalities, and when they start messing around with Wirt and his crush, it's all kind of fun. Also, this is the episode in which the Beast character is finally slightly revealed, as we learn more about his demands and desires. He is such a creepy character. I'd say he is arguably in the running for creepiest cartoon antagonist, with the Lich King, the Nowhere King, and Ko the Face Stealer. Comment below which of these creatures is the gnarliest.
Oh, geez, the leaves are even growing inside of him.
No, I was just eating leaves.
The Unknown is the big final episode that the show delivers, and it is so epic. From the final confrontation and the full reveal of the Beast, to the trope of, could it have all been a dream, this episode has it all. We get to see Greg in a terrible state as he is slowly being overtaken by the Beast. We also get to see Beatrice's character come full circle, as she started as someone who turned into a bird for hurting others, into getting her curse lifted in part of helping her new friends. The Beast really is just such a cool character. His whole dilemma makes for some interesting dialogue and scenes. And finally, it is refreshing to have a show conclude on a non-open-ended happy ending. It's kind of wild that the entire journey of the show served really as a lesson to Wirt that he did end up learning at the conclusion of the show. McHale's short series really is so smart, enjoyable, and ended so well. Except I think there's one episode that reigns supreme.
So we came here to burgle your turts.
No, it's not true.
It is true.
The Ringing of the Bell is a perfect work of cinema. It's like an entire Studio Ghibli film squished into 10 minutes. It's wild. Like, the comparisons between this episode of Over the Garden Wall and Spirited Away are sort of shocking. In this episode, our boys take shelter in a seemingly abandoned cottage, which turned out to be inhabited by a girl named Lorna. Her character is so interesting, as she warns them how her aunt will devour them if she catches them in her home, when in reality it was all a big diversion since she was the one who was cursed by a demon. Now I actually think that the demon Lorna is more scary than the Beast, no joke. Every character in this episode played a unique part, and the story that goes along with it is like a magical fairy tale that subverts every single one of your expectations. Also, in this episode Greg says, "We're here to burgle your turds." I just thought that was worth mentioning. I think it's pretty great. So yeah, these are my rankings of all 10 Over the Garden Wall episodes. The show truly is excellent. I ranked it at number 8 in my top 75 cartoons since 2010 ranking. It is just that phenomenal. It is truly wild what some creators can do with just 10 episodes worth of content. Anyways, I'm sure your list is a bit different, so let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Cartoon Cabbage Patch.